Welcome to the Global Gaming Business Podcast, the industry's first and longest running podcast, now in our 18th year. I'm Frank Legato, editor of Global Gaming Business, and today we feature gaming supplier Everi Holdings, and our guest is Dean Ehrlich, who is Executive Vice President and Games Business Leader for Everi. This podcast is sponsored by Pavilion Payments, which empowers gaming institutions to create an enhanced patron experience with a complete suite of integrated payment solutions that enable safe, secure, and trusted cash access at the cage, on the casino floor, or online. Learn more at pavilionpayments.com. Our guest is a 20-year veteran of the slot supply sector. Dean Ehrlich held executive positions at WS Gaming and Scientific Games before taking over the games division of Everi, where for the past 6.5 years, he has helped build the company into one of the top game makers in the business. Welcome to the podcast, Dean.
Well, thank you very much, Frank. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Well, Everi's R&D efforts have produced a stream of new content every year, as well as continuous hardware innovation. The Dynasty family is among the newest. Tell us about the rationale and strategy behind the new Dynasty Vue cabinet.
So, Frank, I mean, the great part that we've been messaging for the last several years is that we always introduce new cabinets on an annual basis. Our deliverable is usually at least one new form factor. With the Dynasty family, I mean, we've seen with Dynasty Vue one from last year at G2E, we just deployed it out in the market, but being built on a common chassis allows us to be able to make some pretty meaningful changes to whether it's the screen panels, top box enablers from a hardware perspective and whatnot, to really have some differentiated cabinets. And what you're going to see is a whole host of new cabinets that'll show up not only on the slot floor prior to G2E, but even a couple more additional different form factors at G2E. So we really do have sort of a hardware renaissance coming from really building the base of, from the Dynasty, what I'll call the Dynasty nucleus.
Mm-hmm. So fitting into your overall hardware strategy, Dynasty will be used as the nucleus for more new cabinets in different categories. Dynasty is cabinet / hardware emphasized. What's your overall content strategy at Everi to support all this new hardware, all these new cabinets?
As we continue to ramp up our product development efforts, it's really to not only support brand new cabinet builds, but also support our existing cabinets as well. So kind of twofold. So it's additional studios, it's additional people in our platform team, obviously our hardware team, from being able to come up with all these concepts and bring them to fruition. So it's just a bigger, broader emphasis to make sure that we address all the, or as many as the product categories that are out there as possible.
You've got an incredible lineup of cabinets for a really, really diverse range of products and in different swim lanes, as you like to say. How closely does your game development staff work with the hardware staff in creating these new games that take advantage of this new hardware?
It is hand in hand. I mean, I would say, really the hardware team will come up with a concept. They'll work with some key folks in our game development side, and then really, begin to evolve the end state of a particular cabinet through a lot of back and forth, depending on the types of game enablement that the game team wants to do. And they'll look at all the features and functionalities, everything from buttons to screen real estate to obviously the quality of monitors, the power of our CPUs that are embedded into those particular cabinets, to be able to do all these things and marry it all up once that product actually goes through its development phase.
Thank you. I've always had kind of a chicken and the egg question about all these new products that Everi comes out with, as far as the
And it
cabinet.
is. I mean, and it also depends on the organization, Frank. I mean, I'm sure there's some that, hey, here's your cabinet, go design games after the fact onto it. And the hardware team does everything they can to try to make it as extensible as possible. But it can vary. What I like to say, iterate throughout, not only, we talk about iteration throughout the game process of creating content, but it's the same thing in the cabinet side of it too, where we'll come up with a general concept, and then it'll really morph as it kind of goes through that couple year development time frame in terms of all the changes and slight modifications that kind of pivot back and forth depending on the needs, not only what the game developers really desire to have, but also what the you know true extensibility of that cabinet is. Because if you're gonna, as in Dynasty, make these respective changes and put different panels up on top, or add a mechanical wheel, or add some other light box, or collaborative lighting scheme on there. These things continue to evolve over time, right? But you got to build it so you do, in fact, have the extensibility to get there and not cut yourself short. That if you are stuck to one particular cabinet execution on the front end, and then all of a sudden you want to do all these different things from a game perspective, then you're really redesigning the whole entire cabinet rather than trying to think about it on the front end and have as much of this really built in, so it's plugging in and out Lego pieces, so to speak, right, to be
Mm.
able to advance that particular piece of hardware. So
No lines using the app.
When I need more money, I don't have to get up and go get in a long line.
I think this is definitely the future of gaming.
Okay, now listen, you've moved into the historical horse racing market, soon to be distributed gaming market. Tell us about your HHR debut.
very well received. We do very well in these ancillary markets. Just think Class 2 bingo and how well we do in that particular market. To me, I look at HHR as a little bit of an extension of that. Yes, it's a different number generator and so forth, but it really does kind of go towards our core competency from a game style type that lends itself really well to us. So we started out of the gate with player classic signature and flex cabinets, and then really what we've done is we've built so when we launch a product, primarily we launch not only in Class 3 traditional or Class 2 bingo, but also central determination. And we added this extra extension for HHR. So if I develop a game, it gets approved in all these different genres, right? And then we continue to create content that allows the bandwidth of not only the couple of cabinets that we have, but for example, even Dynasty Vue, as we launched, uh, really will be, as we go forward, be able to go in HHR as well. So our product roadmap really does compete with those that are the heaviest content providers to our industry. So just from that methodology, others do it a little bit differently. They do a lot more porting exercises and so forth. In HHR, we plan to do it on the front end as we do our other pieces of content for those other respective game types, right? So that, I think, gives us an advantage as we continue to go forward into the HHR universe and give us a really good opportunity to not only get our ship share that we've seen throughout the rest of the Class 2, Class 3 central determination types, but also really start out of the gate garnering that ship share on the front end in HHR.
Okay, now all of your manufacturing between fintech and games will now be consolidated in a new Las Vegas production facility. Tell us how that's progressing and what it means for Everi overall.
So, Frank, this has been a long time coming. I mean, we've have had our operations for the games business in Austin, Texas, and our fintech business. It's been in Las Vegas, and it just makes sense from an efficiency standpoint. And whether you're building cash access kiosks or loyalty kiosks or gaming machines, there really aren't that different per se. We go through contract manufacturers, they bring them in, we do some top leveling and sub-assembly and things of those of that nature, and then end up deploying them out in the field. And to be able to bring that all under one roof just makes a lot of sense. So timing wise, we think in the fourth quarter we'll begin developing or manufacturing part of our product portfolio out of Las Vegas. We're going to slowly but surely migrate into the Las Vegas facility from a manufacturing standpoint. We're not going to shut the lights off the one and start day one in a new spot, because that creates a lot of potential pitfalls, potentially that could put us in harm's way. So we're going to do this very tactically and make sure that when we do eventually get to 100% in Las Vegas, that where it's seamless to our customers, and that it shouldn't matter to them. They don't care. That's not their challenge, of which we're relocating our manufacturing facility. So they should not have to feel any of that transition. So we're going to do it in a very methodical fashion and make sure that by the time we're fully 100% up, we'll be in Las Vegas with all of our business lines all under one roof. It's really it's one inventory. It's just adding lines depending on the demand of all the collective businesses, to be able to also have the opportunity to grow as far as our product breadth and bandwidth will take us. So I'm very excited about that, and making sure that this thing happens as smoothly as possible. We're within I would call our 6-month clock right now, that we're starting the planning phase of this, but the building literally isn't going to be ready until around the end of Q3, beginning of Q4 timeframe. So lots of planning and making sure this thing goes as smooth as possible.
Well, I'm sure wherever you make the games, you'll continue to do this remarkable variety that we've seen from Everi, as well as the quality of the product. So congratulations on all your success at Everi, and thank you very much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you very much for having me, Frank, and take care of yourself. Always good to talk to you.
Okay, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed this week's podcast, sponsored by Pavilion Payments. Learn more about the full suite of gaming solutions available at pavilionpayments.com. To learn more about the topic we just discussed, visit ggbmagazine.com. Subscribe to GGB News to get all the news of the gaming industry delivered to your desktop every Monday morning. Sign up at ggbnews.com and use the coupon code GGB180 for a free subscription. Don't miss a single episode of the podcast. Subscribe on Amazon, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify today. So we'll see you next time on the GGB Podcast.